My very small garden that I planted only 8 weeks ago has started making, and I've had squash just about every day this week, so I have 4 that I'm going to put in the freezer. And it's a very simple process. I've washed them very well already, and I'm going to cut the ends off and then just slice them up or cut them into chunks. I happen to like to slice mine. I slice mine about 1/2 inch thick. It depends really on how you're gonna cook them when you get them out of the freezer. Now the trick to having any kind of vegetable out of the freezer that will taste just as if they were fresh out of the garden like these are is to blanch them. And my mother always said you have to blanch them to kill the growing enzyme, make them stop growing or maturing. And that way, when you take them out of the freezer, they'll taste just like they were freshly picked. So I have a pot of water that I'm going to bring to a boil. And all you have to do is have enough water that'll cover the vegetables when you put them in. If you have too many vegetables, you can do more than one batch or either use a larger pot. Okay, so my water has started boiling over here in the pot, and I'm going to just add my squash. And it's plenty of water. And now, as quickly as we can, I've got the burner turned on high, and I'm going to put the lid back on. And you have to watch it closely because it should come back to a full rolling boil very quickly. And we're only going to let it boil for 1 minute. That way, the vegetables, whatever they are, but in this case the squash, will not taste like it's been cooked and left over, which is not bad, but you want them to taste just like they come fresh out of the garden. So we're only going to boil it for 1 minute. Okay, our water has come back to a full rolling boil, and I've started my timer for 1 minute. Our minute is up, so I'm turning the fire off, and I'm going to drain the squash through a strainer. And I'm going to rinse them 2 or 3 times to cool them down very quickly. And then about the 3rd time that I add fresh water to them, I'm going to add some ice. You want to cool these down as quickly as possible. I'm adding a tray of ice to the pot. And anytime you're going to freeze fresh vegetables, they have to be completely cool before you put them into the freezer. And that means that when you put your hand down in the water underneath the vegetables, there should be not even one little hint of anything warm. It should be completely cold. And the size container that you put your vegetables in depends on how many people you're normally cooking for and what size portions you need. For me, because quite often I'm cooking just for one, I'm going to put mine into a quart bag, and I'm not going to fill it up very much. So I'll probably put about half of them in 2 different bags. And what I usually do, well, I'm going to add some of the cool water just to cover the vegetables. And you can use either a bag or a freezer box, any freezer safe container. Make sure you get all the air out of it that you can. Normally I put mine in the freezer boxes. But because I'm short on freezer space right now, I'm going to put mine in the freezer bag so that I can flatten them out. Normally I use freezer boxes like this. And be sure that you label your containers with the contents and the dates so that you can use the oldest first. And be sure to flatten. I usually put the bags onto a cookie sheet or some sort of baking pan and flatten them out and freeze them before I stack them in the freezer. If you flatten them out good, they'll stack better. And that's all there is to it. And don't do like I just did. I forgot to label the bags ahead of time. So I'm going to attempt to label these after they already have the vegetables in them. So if you found this video helpful, please like and share. And thanks for stopping by.